I'll first recognize the chairman of the full committee, Mr. Walberg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks to the panel for being here. And I think, Mr. Chairman, I've come up with a solution to all of this. We simply pass a law requiring that only teachers are allowed to be parents. But, Mr. Sharp, I think you messed that up because you already said that parents are the first and longest-lasting teachers in a child's life. Certainly was what my wife and I were, as we supplemented our teaching with teachers in public and private schools during the tenure of our children's experience. And so I guess I didn't come up with the solution that we're talking about today, but I wish we could see, even as Mrs. Figliola said, that working that relationship together works, and ought to be encouraged. Mr. Sharp, some, including the Biden administration, have asserted that FERPA and other federal laws confer on minor students an independent privacy right that requires schools to conceal gender transitions from parents. Is this a correct, anywhere near correct reading of the law?
Mr. Chairman, not at all. In fact, the courts have routinely rejected that interpretation. In one case, they specifically noted that under FERPA, a child's right to privacy is secondary to a parent's right to know, because that's recognizing, as you said, children are best served when their parents are their primary educators in making decisions. And to do that, parents need that knowledge and information.
Yeah, appreciate that. Wish we all believed that. Mrs. Powell. It's a refreshing bit of air coming from California to hear your statements and your experience. You note in your written statement that the Supreme Court has consistently affirmed that the government may not treat every parent as a presumptive threat. It hurts to even say that, a presumptive threat to their own child. In your view, do policies that encourage or require teachers to conceal gender transition or other information from parents treat every parent as a presumptive threat?
Yes, and I think that was reflected in the ranking member's opening statement where she spoke about the concerns about some parents being abusive. So that's obviously a concern that exists, that's a real thing, but you can't—
And we're all concerned about that.
But you can't set policies that apply to every child and every loving home that have in mind that worst case. The abusive house, that is where the government appropriately does step in, but that needs to be done on a case-by-case basis. There's a high level of due process for the parents before the government can step in and interfere, and that's not what's being done. I don't think that really people think that these are abusive parents, because if they did, the teachers would be mandated to report it. It would be unconscionable to just send the children home at the end of the day to an abusive household. I don't think we're talking about actual abuse here, but the policies are crafted as if this is a serious abusive threat to these children, and yet they aren't really addressing that. And this is really the central theme of my testimony, is that it's really schools overstepping, going out of their lane, when they really should stick more to their role and not try to parent the children, because they think that maybe they know better how to support the child who expresses gender identity confusion. They think their solution is the only one, and they don't trust parents to know their children and to know the best way to deal with that individual child.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Figliola, I appreciated your testimony. From what you experienced, how seriously did school officials take their responsibility to communicate with parents about their FERPA and PPRA rights?
Not very seriously at all. As far as I know, parents were not made aware of that and their rights, and certainly teachers were not given training in how to go into these situations being respectful of FERPA and PPRA.
Did it seem that there was more attention given to conceal information from parents?
Yes. Yes, sir. There absolutely was far more attention given to concealing information from parents. We were taught how to do it. We were taught how to make sure that we always used the name that was the name on the record for the child, and we were never to communicate with parents, whether it was through a phone call or parent-teacher conferences or anything written by any other name, even if a name was used always in school. We were never to use that name in contact with the parents.
What a waste of tremendous teaching resources that parents could provide.
Yes.
Thank you. I yield back.
Ranking Member Bonamici of Oregon is recognized.
Thank